Good morning. I'm Delphine Milo broadcasting to you from the GBTA conference here in Brussels. Joining me today is Kim Conway, director at Nomadic. Kim, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to speak to you today and be here in Brussels. So
how is the conference going so far for you?
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's a great time reconnecting with everybody and seeing people in the industry, and definitely getting back to business travel is really important.
It is. So let's dive right in. Kim, what are some of the biggest trends related to business travel and immigration as we head into 2023?
I think one of the biggest trends that we're monitoring is the digitization of travel, with the implementation of e-gates and more of those being established to monitor movement across the borders outside of the Schengen area. It will be much more transparent when people are approaching their limits of stay in the region. So that's very important for employers to have visibility into. So that's one of the biggest trends, and also the coming of ETIAS. So in November of 2023, non-visa requiring nationals such as US passport holders and Canadian passport holders, UK nationals, will be required to fill out an electronic verification before they board the plane so that they're determined to be eligible to enter the EU. So it's very important to keep an eye on that and definitely be visible into your employees' travel trends.
Okay, and do you anticipate that this new ETIAS requirement will be a barrier to travel, or?
I don't think it will be a barrier. It's very similar to the ESTA that was introduced for non-visa requiring nationals coming into the US, and we haven't seen that be a barrier. It just helps with countries to monitor the movement of people, and so you have to be prepared that that's being monitored and looked at. And setting up a program to make sure you understand the implications of that is really important.
Okay. And talking about movement of people, Kim, what are the biggest challenges facing employers when it comes to employee mobility?
I believe that the biggest challenge is that there are so many competing and different requirements. So even in the Schengen region, where there's 26 member countries, each country has the ability to implement these rules differently, have different requirements, different lead times, different appointment times for when people can get visas. And so those are the biggest challengers that employers face. If they're trying to move people, especially visa requiring nationals, appointments to get visas at Schengen countries is quite lengthy, and it varies depending on not only country but jurisdiction that someone's applying into. So employers really have to have visibility into that and be managing their travelers' expectations.
Okay. Okay. And in that case, how can companies navigate global events and economic changes to ensure that they stay compliant with all of these rules?
Well, I think that the biggest thing companies can do is embrace the technology, not resist it. When I started in this industry, and I'm going to date myself now, we used to fax requirements to people for visas. And I still have clients to this day asking me for PDFs or templates or drafts, and really that's not the best way to manage a complicated program. You have to embrace the technology and realize that countries are stepping into this technological world with digitization, and companies really have to partner with a supplier to help them navigate this, come up with a good roadmap to become compliant, because that's the first challenge, and then maintain compliance as things change and evolve. So
okay,
embrace
so
technology.
Change, embrace technology. I think that's a very good message
Yes.
for our audience.
Exactly.
Great. So thank you, Kim, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yes, and so this is Delphine Milo broadcasting to you from the GBTA conference here in Brussels. Thank you for tuning in.